I'm opposed to selling the passports and the citizenship in principle. I'm opposed on the grounds of practicality. I'm opposed on the grounds that it is not sustainable and that it is reckless to run your country's finances on selling passport and citizenship.
Ralph is a senior politician, a senior statesman in the Caribbean. Ralph has good language skills, and I thought that Ralph was absolutely ridiculous with the level of condemnation and the contempt with which he has held his colleagues and his fellow OECS countrymen and countrywomen.
What's up, beautiful people? This is me again, your boy Stefan, your Afro-Grenadian ambassador. Welcome back to my program, guys. We have a political feud and drama that is going on between St. Vincent's Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves and Antigua and Barbuda Gaston Brong. Gaston Brong is not taking Ralph Gonsalves' statements lightly. He's lashing back, saying Ralph Gonsalves has disappointed not just him, but the entire OECS country state. So his counterparts, his countrymen, and countrywomen. It was not very nice of him to throw his neighbors under the bus and say all of this about the CBI program. And Gaston Brong is saying that Gonsalves is being a hypocrite because he may not be giving citizenships openly like the other islands, but he is doing it behind closed doors. There were times he gives citizenship, and many times he gives citizenship to foreigners, foreign investors, behind closed doors. Well, guys, let's take a listen to what Gaston Brong said, and then we will come back and discuss all about it.
First of all, I felt that Ralph's statement was unfortunate, and for somebody who I admire, especially his language skills, when it comes to good language, Ralph is not short of good language. And I think this was a deliberate and provocative attack on, member states within the OECS, his colleagues, and, as small, vulnerable countries, we always encourage leaders to stand in solidarity with each other, recognizing that, the same stick that beats the wild goat is the same one that will beat the tame. And I was a little shocked that Ralph could be so reckless with his language to treat of all of us with the same broad brush. And whereas I am not in a position to admit, or for that matter, deny any corruption in any other program, I can certainly speak to our program. And I want to say to Ralph definitively that the accusations that he made of corruption in these programs, which would have included Antigua and Barbuda, they certainly don't apply to our country. And I also want to say to Ralph that Antigua and Barbuda runs a legitimate investment immigration program that is no different than the EB5. It's no different than the one in Canada. It's no different than those in the European Union. I also want to say to Ralph that we have not published a single application without appropriate due diligence, which includes international due diligence agencies and regional institutions, global institutions, including Interpol and impacts here within the Caribbean region, or JRCC for that matter. So this notion that there's a lot of corruption and we are processing applications without due diligence and so on, I want to say certainly in the case of Antigua and Barbuda, your information is flawed. And even if, Ralph, you are speculating that there may be corruption in other programs, I do not appreciate your literally treating us with a broad brush and to implicate one of the best run investment immigration programs in the world, the Antigua and Barbudan program, with the type of adjectives and mismanagement and corruption that you're talking about. And I would say to here, Ralph, I am aware that within St. Vincent and Grenadines, from time to time, you give people who make economic contributions, and we're talking about foreigners who make significant economic contributions, you give them citizenship. So whereas in Antigua and Barbuda, we don't have that type of leverage within our constitution to make those people citizens. The CIP, on the other hand, gives us the opportunity to give people who make significant economic contributions via our CIP program citizenship. So it's no different from what you're doing. And I will never pass my place to go and accuse you of corruptly giving passports to the people who you have given passports to. It will be out of order, and it certainly would not be supporting camaraderie and comity among two prime ministers within the region. So I don't know what issue or issues Ralph may have within St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I don't know if it's an issue in which political parties in St. Vincent and the Grenadines are fighting on the issue of CIP. And I have a policy, I don't get involved in people's domestic politics. But if that is the case, keep that within St. Vincent and Grenadines. Don't implicate other countries within the region. I think you have gone too far, and you may want to reconsider whether or not you should not be a little more circumspect in your discussions and in your articulations in the future. And what is very unfortunate about this, we are trying to carve out a good living standard for the people of the region. Many of our countries have transitioned into immigration investment programs to raise additional revenues to take care of the obligations of our governments and to uplift our people. And these programs have made significant contributions to our development. I recall, for example, when we got in June of 2014, our country was literally on the precipice of bankruptcy. And it is the CIP revenues that rescued us, because at that time, 2 items of expenditure, namely salaries and wages and debt repayment, exhausted all of our revenues. And if it was not for the CIP program, that would have brought in just over 100 million EC dollars a year on average, or maybe an average of 100 million a year. So we would have collected about $1 billion, maybe 1.1 billion, because I think the first year we raised as much as $200 million in a given year. If it wasn't for that, the fortunes of Antigua and Barbuda would have been significantly different. Now, this idea about visa-free access, I don't know why Ralph believes that, the CIP countries will use visa-free access, and that St. Vincent and Grenadines will be able to retain visa-free access. At the end of the day, we are operating within the same space. And as I said before, the same stick that beats the wild goat is the same one that can beat the tame. To the best of my knowledge, St. Vincent and Grenadines has no visa-free access into Canada, but you have the CIP program. And why do you think that if the European Union were to revoke the visa-free access of the CIP OECS countries, why do you think that in St. Vincent and the Grenadines will continue into perpetuity? So what should be happening here together is that we should be supporting each other, because they may use CIP to stop our visa-free access, but they'll use some other reason to stop visa-free access into St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So it is not appropriate for Ralph to be trashing us with the hope that we lose our visa-free access. And by the way, no decision has been taken up to this point by the European Union, and even information too that somebody circulated about the US saying that they may not allow OECS Caribbean countries that have CIPs access into the United States. No such decision has been taken. So that's not even reliable information that Ralph is peddling.
Guys, there you have it. PM Gaston Brong, Antigua's Prime Minister Gaston Brong is basically saying, Ralph, you get your information all mixed up, your information is flawed, and you stop being a hypocrite. You are giving citizenship yourselves. You have done it on many occasions behind closed doors, and all these conspiracy theories that you are peddling about the CBI program is false and it's not true. PM Gaston Brong is asking Ralph Gonsalves, what is your issue? What is really your issue? We should be working along together as OECS member states. All this drama is not healthy for our relationship, and so guys, let me know what are your thoughts in the comment section below. But PM Gaston Brong didn't waste any time in spilling the beans, and the man had his evidence. As you saw, he presented his evidence about Ralph Gonsalves, what he's accusing the island states of many of the islands that have the CBI program running, he's doing the very same thing behind closed doors. And the guy presented his evidence to back up what he's saying. So guys, let me know what are your thoughts in the comment section below. Take care until next time. God bless you.